Hey everyone, welcome to Campbell's Coins. What is the best gold to stack? To buy, what have you? Maybe you're new to gold stacking or maybe you're a seasoned pro. Regardless, it is a highly contentious topic for most stackers as taste changes from person to person. Well, in this video, I'll go over what I feel is the best gold to buy for the average stacker. Coming up. Now, before I dive into things, I'm certainly not telling you what to buy. It is your money, do with it what you will. I've been tracking these trends for the last 15 years. I bought gold in 05, I watched it crash in 08, and then I watched it skyrocket in 2011. I've seen everything on eBay, online dealers, things that sell out, things that don't sell out, the times it takes for things to go. I've watched all of that, I've calculated all of that, I've kept track, I've researched it, and I've compiled it all here for you today. These are things I've seen, like I said, with online dealers, eBay, Instagram, even brick and mortar precious metal dealers. This list is very broad and generic for the average stacker. It's also going to depend on what country you live in. Since I live in the United States, this list pertains to stackers who also live here. This is slightly problematic because there are different things to stack in different countries. I know in Britain, you don't get taxed if you're buying British gold. In Germany, for instance, you are put on a list of people who purchase over a certain amount in gold. Or I think there's some sort of restriction there. I didn't look it up prior to this video. My apologies. But like getting back to what I said, if I were to take everything and everyone's exceptions and this country's rules and that country's rules, this video would be way too long. So I'm keeping it simple. We're talking about stackers in the US, and I'm going to talk about world gold, but it's pertaining to in the US. And I'm also not recommending that you sell your precious metals to a dealer, but I'm going to talk about what could happen if you do. Selling to a dealer, dealers look for three things: a mint mark, the weight of the item, and the purity of the item, all stamped onto the coin, round, or bar. If your gold item is missing one of these three things, chances are not that great that you will be able to sell it, or at least sell it at the price you're looking for. Hey gang, when I was editing the video, I realized I did not explain what I meant there, and some new stackers may not follow what I mean. So what do I mean with mint mark, the weight, and the purity? So looking at this PAMP, we could see it says PAMP. It's in an assay. It's not a fail-safe, but it's basically saying like this is where it came from. There's a lot of fakes out there with PAMPs put into fake assays. That's why it's very important to purchase from reputable sources, but that's a whole nother story. Let's just talk about this. So this says PAMP Suisse. So that's the mint that made this. It says 1 ounce fine gold. So that tells us that it contains 1 troy ounce of gold, and troy ounce is a lot different than an ounce. And I've covered that in another video that you can check out. And then down here shows 4 nines, so it's 99.99% pure gold. PAMP went a little bit further and they added a serial number. Most of the items that have serial numbers are going to be bars, but so this item has more than those three things. It has the mint mark, it has the weight of the item, and it has the purity of the item, plus a serial number. If we were to look at, well, let's just look at this double eagle. So this double eagle is a US made coin. It was made in 1878, and it is worth at the time, it was worth 20 American dollars. On this coin, what it has though is it has the year, It has the S for the San Francisco Mint, where it was minted, but it doesn't tell you the fineness that's on here of gold, and it doesn't tell you how much gold is in this. You would have to know that. In the case of pre-33 gold, it doesn't really destroy, it doesn't really ding it in terms of value. Dealers are not going to go, oh, well, it doesn't have those three things. I'm just using that as a very, very broad example of things that beginner stackers can take a look at. For instance, if you were looking at generic silver, some generic silver does not have where it was minted. It'll only have the purity and the weight of silver that's in that round. But it won't have the mint mark, it won't have a serial number, it won't have a lot of the things that government mints do have. And that type of thing will lower its value if you had to sell it. Let's talk about one of the very important things when it comes to picking which gold you want to stack. And probably the most important is liquidity. If you had to move things, if you had to sell your gold to pay bills, to, you're moving, you have to raise funds for whatever reason, you want to make sure you can do so very easily. That is what liquidity is. The harder an item is to sell, the less liquid it is. Don't buy something you'll be stuck with just because nobody wants it. I heard a story a couple months ago, and I'm not sure how true it is, but considering the source that I heard it from, I expect it could be. There was a guy in Canada who was trying to offload a 1-ounce gold Krugerrand. No shop around him was interested in buying it. And I'm not saying buying at a discount, they flat out did not want it, period. He drove 150 miles to find a place that would take it, and they bought it for well under spot. Now, this is a few months ago when gold was at $14.50, I think, and I think he probably sold it for $100 less, $13.50, maybe even less. I don't know the exact amount, but it was a lot less than spot. That's because in that region, there just wasn't enough demand for a gold Krugerrand. In addition to demand, because of the price of gold, it is fairly expensive, you also have to consider the weight of your gold. Unless you can afford it, it wouldn't be smart to purchase a 3-ounce gold bar like this one right here. This is a 100-gram pamp bar. It weighs a little over 3 ounces, 3 troy ounces. And the reason why you don't want to put all of your money into one item is because what happens if you had to sell? Anyone? If you were trying to offload 3-ounce bar like this, who could buy that from you? Can any of your friends? This is about $6,500 right here. It would be much easier to split that up into 3 separate 1-ounce coins. I'm using these 3 Liberty Double Eagles as an example. I know that they're not a full ounce, but imagine that they are. If you were to go to sell your 3-ounce bar, more than likely you'd have to go to a dealer to sell it. And they are not going to give you the price that you're going to want for it, for the simple fact that they don't know how long they're going to have to hang on to it before it sells in their shop. Now, in a high demand period like now, it's pretty easy to offload that gold because there's a lot of interested buyers no matter what size. In fact, there is a demand of kilo gold bars in New York City. Getting back to my point, you would have an easier time selling 3 1-ounce gold coins over selling something like this in both a high and low demand period. If you know you're going to offload your gold soon, as soon as the price rises to a certain level, it might be smart just to purchase fractional pieces. And by fractional gold, I mean anything under a 1/2 ounce. But even when buying fractional gold, pick pieces that anyone would be interested in. If you're buying 1/10 of an ounce Perth Mint Year of the Rat coins because you like rats, you do you. But have the understanding that not everyone will like to have a Year of the Rat coin, and that premium that you paid for it, you might not get it back when you go to sell it, unless you're selling to someone with similar taste to yourself. Okay, now we're going to get to what are the best gold to stack. And I'm going to start off with the worst and then work my way up to the best. So in a low or high demand period, I see these gold coins performing the worst in terms of demand and premium. Starting off with the worst performers, at number 3, we have Pamp Gold. Krugerrands, Maple Leafs, Austrian Philharmonics, Britannias, and Australian Kangaroos. These are your basic world government coins and bullions. These have unlimited mintages every year and their designs do not change. The only thing to change is the date. These have the lowest premiums of this group of gold that I'm talking about in both low and high demand periods. In low demand periods, you can often find these for spot pricing. Coming in at number 2, the second group of coins that perform a little bit better are Mexican Libertads, Perth Mint specialty coins, and other specialty low mint coins and bars. These do much better than the items in group 3, but their consistency isn't always there with the premiums. Perth Mint products are very interesting because they have a huge world market. While they are popular in the US, I feel that these are more popular outside the US, especially in Europe and China. A lot of their specialty items have very low mintages and become quite popular years after they're minted. Libertads are very similar. Low mintages and nice quality. Their proof gold is very desirable. Their reverse proof coins often have mintages below 2000 and they sell out very quickly. Because all these specialty coins have low mintages, they often retain very high premiums in periods of low and high gold demand. You will almost never see spot deals for these items. However, never say never, am I right? And they are highly collectible with many people. Coming in at number 1, the best gold in my opinion that you can stack is American Gold Eagles, American Buffaloes, and all American pre-33 gold. American Gold Eagles and American Buffaloes hold a higher premium over everything else I've mentioned, and it doesn't matter if it's a high or low demand period. Their premiums, however, really take off in a high demand period. But their premiums really take off in a high demand period and they can be $100 or more over the groups that I had just previously mentioned. I wouldn't recommend purchasing the proof versions of these coins because you will pay more than the BU versions and you don't always see the extra premium come back to you. It is for this reason I highly recommend American Gold Eagles and American Buffaloes. You'll pay a premium, but you'll more than likely get that premium back if you had to sell. For instance, these 1/10 of an ounce American Gold Eagles have a hefty premium to them. I happen to have one here for you to see, if my camera will focus. Maybe I'm not that far back. So 1/10 of an ounce American Gold Eagles are currently selling for around $205 plus shipping. If you are buying online, I would expect to pay a lot more than that. But if you're buying off Instagram, you can find these all day long for $200, $205. However, these 1/10 of an ounce Perth Mint, Victory, and the Pacific coins sell for $180. Maybe you can get it for $175. It's the same gold content, but there's a higher demand for the American Gold Eagles. Pre-33 gold is really interesting. During periods of low demand, the premiums of pre-33 gold drops a lot. Most of the premium is at $50 or more over melt, and sometimes you can find them for at melt price during a time of low gold demand. But during a period of high gold demand like we currently are in, watch out. I'm seeing clean coins selling for $225 over spot. If it's a graded coin, those premiums are $250 and often much more over spot pricing. The fractional stuff is even higher. Okay, so these $2.50 coins, one's an Indian, the other one's a Liberty head. These contain just a smidge over 1/10 of an ounce of gold. And I think the melt value is around 185, maybe 190. However, These, even in a clean coin or a really worn coin, are selling for $290, $300. And I think the reason for the high premium on pre-33 gold is because it has history and collectability built into them. And that would kind of be summarized as numismatic value. Additionally, and another major point, many people think that the government will simply confiscate gold like they did in 1933. In fact, I don't think a lot of you realize that they did confiscate our gold in 1933. It may happen, and we don't know that. It will or won't. But what we do know is the exceptions they made in 1933 for this confiscation. They confiscated gold bullion, but they did not confiscate collectible gold coins, and they did not confiscate gold jewelry. One had to prove that they were a coin collector, but they could keep their gold if they did. Anyone in violation of this law was imprisoned and fined $10,000. That was a lot of money back then. Hell, that's a lot of money now. Thankfully, there were individuals who resisted and kept their gold and silver. But if it were to happen again, pre-33 gold is a logical choice. It's not modern bullion, and one can make the case it's collectible and that they are a coin collector, and then you're able to keep your wealth. Ultimately, it is up to you, what you can afford and what you like. If you like something that no one else likes, then go buy it and be happy. My list is merely for those who don't know what to get, and it can help them decide what would be best for them now and in the future. What is your favorite gold to buy? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching Campbell's Coins, and that's my 2 cents. Man, I always get so burpy in these. Let me know in the comments below.